Good morning. This is Lakhi Singh. I'm live from actually at the Hilton Metropole today because I'm stuck in between the car park and going to the office. So I've just parked up my car and now I'm sitting in this lovely hotel. So I hope you're all well. This is Lakhi Singh, the property fixer. I am going to be live with Debra Sofia Magdalene in a few minutes. We're going to be talking about how do you raise your game, your vibrations. And Debra is obviously somebody with lots of experience in that field, from essential oils to working with certain technology that allows you to raise your vibration. So I'm really excited about getting her on board. So hope you're all well and having a great Friday so far. So just to give you a quick background about Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, we are getting very, very busy with putting certain tools in place with Rescuemyproperties, which helps people to derive a new income. We're also launching a new PropTech project, which is going to go live very soon. We will be competing with the likes of Rightmove and Purple Bricks, and we're going to be doing an investment raise for that, which will be very interesting. So I hope you're all well, and I'm going to now bring on Debra, who's been kindly waiting because we're running late by a few minutes, 5-10 minutes. So Debra, let's hope she's here. Hi, good morning, Debra.
Good morning, Lakhi. How are you today?
Good, good. Sorry about the delay. I'm actually in between the office and the car park, so I'm actually stuck in a hotel where I normally park 25 minutes away from the office. So I'm in the Hilton Metropole, so you can give a quick sort of view. There we go.
Oh, well, you're certainly socially distancing there, Lakhi.
I'm keeping my distance from, well, basically there's nobody around really, so I'm on a floor which is not being used by the hotel at all because it's pretty much being refurbished at the moment. So how are you doing, Debra? We haven't spoken for a while on the show, at least.
Yeah, I'm really, really good. Everything's going swimmingly well in my world. Yeah, since I was last on the show, I've become an international best-selling author, which is very exciting. The book was launched last weekend and got to #1 in 4 categories in the UK, in Australia, in Germany, in Italy. It was one of the #1 hot new releases in America. So that's really exciting. That's just a Kindle release.
Wow, okay, that's pretty amazing. I mean, from moving from a coach and a well-being consultant to being an author as well, that sounds very exciting, actually. So what will that mean then in terms of business for you? Is that going to be a lot more revenue, a lot more exposure, a lot of international speaking in the stage at the UN or something? Or what's going to be the general outcome, do you think?
Well, I think books are really useful tools. You know, they're like calling cards. You don't make a lot of money from selling books. And this one actually, the royalties are going to charity. And it's going to be supporting Buy One, Give One, Business for Good charities. So you don't make any money from the book itself, but it opens a lot of doors. And having a book and being part of a collaborative project, which, you know, that is part of 27 different authors, including Dr. John Demartini, who's like a rock star in the world in terms of human potential. It gives a lot of credibility to the work that you're actually doing. So yeah, I'd love to have more opportunities to speak on global stages, because it's time now for me to step up into a new elevated chapter of my life to reach more people. I've been doing a lot of work recently with a fantastic, beautiful soul called Sammy Blindell, who I met in Manchester in 2017 when she ran the Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit. And honestly, Lakhi, it's the best business event I have ever been to. It was phenomenal, world-class speakers. And so I became part of Sammy's community, and I've just learned so much through this process. And we were given the opportunity of writing a book, writing a chapter in the book. And we had 6 days to do it, and I want to say a big thank you to you as well, because I remember sending you my chapter and saying, "What do you think of this?" And have you got any tips for me? So I just want to give you a shout out as well and say thank you for that.
Because I did my 2 pennies worth.
I had a very quick turnaround time, and I sort of decided to do a rewrite on mine on day 6 when it had to be in very, very quickly. But as part of, going through this experience, we've just learned so much. Morning, Sonia.
So we've got a couple of shout outs going on here. We've got Carolyn Williams, we've got Sonia. I've got a couple of other groups here. We've got Barhan Noor, and we've also got Hazel and John Smith saying good morning. So big shout out to you. So we're going to be looking to raise your vibrations. Let me just do that again. Raise your vibrations. So back to the topic that we've got for today. We'll come on to that actually in a second. So obviously, let's just start with the vibrational side of this conversation, which is going back to the book. Do you think you managed to do this book because you raised your vibration and you attracted lots of positive people around you that are going to bring lots of gifts for you? Is that what's happened?
Oh, for sure. You know, when my chapter is actually called Raise Your Vibration, Raise Your Game, because when you're living in a higher vibrational state, you can manifest a lot quicker. And once you become very, very clear on what it is that you're creating, it's like your mind's a magnet, and then you're attracting those opportunities to yourself, and your life can change very, very quickly.
Okay, what's happening is I'm actually sitting in the middle of a hotel. So I'm a bit conscious that they may come up and say, okay, what you're doing in the corner of your...
All right.
If I do get moved on, I might have to actually put it on a blank screen for about 4 or 5 minutes while I go and sit outside or something out of the building. But I don't see why they would actually bother, because I'm actually sitting in the corner quietly. And there's nobody around at all actually on the first floor in the Hilton Metropole, which is one of the biggest hotels in London actually. It's probably got something like 2,000 rooms or something, or 3,000 rooms. Okay, anyway, so going back to the vibration and raising your game, perhaps you could give us an intro about the topic and what it means to you, so the viewers can actually see what you're thinking when you came up with the topic.
Yeah, well, I actually start off in the book. In fact, do you want me to read you the first little bit of it, just the opening bit?
Sure.
Because it can be relevant, this, to everybody. And so, like, I want you to apply this to yourself. And I start off by saying, how far down your list of priorities do you come? My coach asked me. And I was stunned into silence. He'd asked me a question that took me unaware. To my horror, I was number 8 at the bottom of my list. Deborah, what on earth are you doing? How can you make a global impact if you aren't even looking after yourself? I asked myself in silent reflection. I wasn't happy, and I knew that something had to change. I had to change. So have you ever had a defining moment in your life? And, you know, and for me, this was mine. And it was that realization that I wasn't happy. I was putting myself way down my list of priorities. And this comes down to loving yourself and having clear boundaries with other people as well. Because Lakhi, we brought up in this mindset that it's selfish to put yourself first.
Well, I think that is probably, out of any points we're going to make, is probably fundamental, because if you're not realizing that you've got to look after yourself and put yourself number one, because if you can't look after yourself, how can you look after anyone else? You're going to be blindsided to anybody else's needs if you can't look after your own needs.
Yeah.
The question is, a lot of people go through their whole life, get to 60 or 70 or 18-year older age, and they begin to think, actually, what did I ever do for myself? It was all about maybe my family, about maybe working, making money. Obviously, family is important, but also there's a balance. If you're not happy within yourself, whatever you're going to do for your family, your kids, parents, then you're going to be in a maybe grumpy or a bit stroppy, and you're not going to be doing it in the intention of goodness or a good-heartedness. And if you can't get yourself in a position where you're vibrating at a higher level, I suppose, then whatever you're doing is not really going to be making that difference at the level they may require, because you may be doing it out of having to, but not out of good intention. And there's a fine balance there. I'm not saying let's not do things for our family. I'm saying let's do it at a level where you're content and it's something that's part of your passion. And if you can do something with passion, there's a massive difference between that and doing something with a having to attitude, which we all probably have to go through certain things in our lives. You have to do certain things because you haven't got a choice. So how do you find that balance, Deborah, in terms of knowing that you are vibrating at a certain level with good intention? How do you get yourself or move yourself into that process of thinking? Because obviously it's easier said than done. It's all easy to say. Doing it for most people is not doesn't come easily, because they're programmed with their families, the norms of society, their own experiences in life, which may have been good or bad at an early age. So there's so many nuances in terms of getting yourself aligned. Where do you start?
Well, I tend to use examples from my own personal journey, Lakhi, because, I walk my talk. And I remember in 2011 when I sold my house, when I first became a nomad, and I'd done a 2-month journey around France and Italy, around Europe. And my plan was to come back to the UK, get a visa, then go to India. That was what I was wanting to do. But when I got back to the UK, it turned out that Dad had cancer and he was Mum's carer. She had Alzheimer's and she was blind and crippled. And so rather than going to India, I put my own travel plans on hold to care for my parents because they needed somebody there. And I was the only sister. I'm the eldest of 5 girls that had the freedom to be able to do that. Now, if I'd have had this situation many years ago, before I had the conscious awareness, I probably wouldn't have treated it the same as I did this time round, because I realised that I was being given an opportunity to maybe heal past relationships, to be of service to my parents. So rather than focusing on, I really wanted to go to India and what am I missing out on, and feeling that I'm having to do this out of a sense of duty, I looked at the blessings that this was actually giving me. And it was my choice to do it. We always have choice in how we show up. And we always have choice in our mindset. So even though it might appear that life circumstances don't give us a choice, we've always got a choice in some way or another.
Can I ask you, so how did you manage to turn it from your personal, let's just say, desires, let's say, so desirable, to a need that somebody, like a close family needs it, you don't really have a choice in some ways because nobody's around to do it. Other family members can't do it, and you're the one that's put in that situation because you're physically there in the same house, etc. How do you turn it in terms of deciding to be that way? Is that just because you're a good person, you had good intentions in the first place, and you thought, okay, well, I'm not the type of person to be thinking about myself. I genuinely want to give that love and appreciation to my parents for all they've done. What is it that sort of made you turn in that way? And what are the sort of tips you would give to people to try and see things in that way for themselves?
I think life always throws us curveballs, right? And there's always gifts that we can take out of situations, even when it's not what we're planning, right? So it'll come from the wings, you're not expecting it. Oh my goodness, I've got this to deal with. How am I going to deal with it? So the first thing that I always think about is, how do I choose to think about this? What meaning do I give to it? How do I choose to respond to it? What are the options? I could have said to my parents, well, I'm off to India, so we're going to have to get carers in to look after you. But I didn't. I chose to be of service to my parents. I chose to be here so that I could just be there for them. And I think putting myself in the situation as a parent as well, we're put into parenthood and we're not given any training for that role. They don't teach us how to be a parent at school. They don't teach us how to bring children up, which are like fundamental life skills. We're sort of taught by example as to how we are actually brought up. And what can happen is that generational things that have gone on way back in the past, from mother to daughter, then granddaughter, these are passed down the generations. And sometimes this generational healing that needs to take place, that occurred many generations back. So for me, I look at it as an opportunity for changing generational patterning and for healing the generational line, doing ancestral healing. It's a really big subject. It's the way that we can be of service to our ancestors and to the people that are in our line going forward. Because when in quantum physics, we only have the moment of now. So the past, present, and future are all happening in the moment of now. So when we heal the moment of now, we're changing everything on all the timelines.
Wow. Okay. So
A deep conversation for a Friday morning.
No, I think it's absolutely perfect, because this is the new normal on the property fixer. So basically, what you choose when information comes to you and how you decipher it and how you slot it, then can determine your ability to actually deal with any type of situation, because it's what you choose. It's a choice. So you could choose easily to do the opposite, which is what somebody might need. You may say, okay, well, I choose not to get carers in, or you can choose the opposite, which is to give care and actually give service. But that choice at that time is basically you've got to probably make it on a rational basis. So once you've got the information, then I think a lot of people maybe just fall into things and they don't really always think about what they're doing. They just basically, it's fight or flight. So how did you avoid the fight and flight type of thinking then? Because, so that's obviously when you need care, there's a bit of time to still consider things and do things. But there must be other situations in life where it's been fight and flight, and then you've got to make choices. And sometimes you don't make the best choices when it's fight and flight, because we may just do the thing that's the easiest and the most gratifying at the time.
Yeah. It's a skill set that can be learned, right? And in the book, I also talk about a situation where my husband was very distant from me. We were in a car coming back from Liverpool, and I'm just thinking that what I might do is just read you this little segment, because it sort of illustrates that point perfectly. Okay, so this is relating to what we've just been talking about. Now isn't the time, he said. Now's the perfect time, I replied. It was just me and my husband in the car with no distractions. I knew things hadn't been right in our marriage for some time. I'd just been promoted to executive director with a big pay rise, and he hadn't even acknowledged or congratulated me. He'd been distant for weeks. You've found someone else, haven't you? I just knew instinctively, and he didn't deny it. I didn't want to tell you till we got back from our annual holiday with the kids, he replied. I was stunned into silence. Breathing deeply until we got back to calm my emotions, doing my best to hold back the tears. Life would never be the same. I wondered, what should I do now? How do I choose to respond to this? What do I want to happen? So the point here is, don't react. Choose your response and focus on the outcome that you want. So it's like, what do you want to create from any situation that happens to you? And that is a skill that you can learn to do. I knew in that car journey that had I sort of reacted and flew off the handle, right, I would have had a very, very different outcome to how I actually chose to react to it and respond to it. And my response was to do nothing, but to find an empowering meaning to my husband leaving me for another woman. So the first thing I asked myself was, do I want to fight for my marriage? And the answer was no. I knew that the relationship had done its course. So then the next question was, how can I give this an empowering meaning to help get me through this really painful time of feeling unloved, of feeling rejected, of feeling that my life was falling apart, and to stop me from going into fear of how am I going to manage financially? If my husband's leaving me, we've got a big mortgage, we've got 2 children. And it took me 2 days to come up with the empowering meaning.
And is that something, I mean, this is obviously a very, very sort of sensitive situation that occurred at the time. And I know that you're talking about it quite openly in a book. So that takes lots of guts. I'm not quite sure whether I'd want to talk about that level of sensitivity myself that easily. I think it takes time and guts to want to open it all up and look at it for what it was at the time and how you dealt with it in an empowering way. So how can other people get out of the drama cycle? Which is thing is, a lot of people, they bring drama to their lives, and a lot of it is because I think they don't know how to step back and reassess and measure themselves and understand really how to apply themselves in the best way in any given situation, because a lot of people will get caught up in the drama, and the drama could also be manipulation. So the external environment technically can control them. If somebody says something and they react and let's say they're oversensitive, they'll just say yes to everything. And the opposite of that is that it's not the external environment, they themselves have an anger streak or quick gratification. They're very needy, or they're vulnerable, or they are insecure because they they don't feel happy within themselves, they may have depression, anxiety. So there's lots of nuances in terms of this type of situation. So what would you suggest to people listening in about how to manage the situation within themselves? And how do they manage the situation where they maybe some form of manipulation, where somebody's taking advantage of them, but yet they're pretty clear about themselves? So there's two different nuances there. One is external, one is internal.
So I like to use two things here, right? The first one is, are you in victim consciousness, or are you recognizing yourself as the creator of your reality? And it's moving from being a victim to conscious creator, standing in your personal sovereignty. So in victim consciousness, you think that life is happening to you. But when you realize that through every thought that you have, through your vibration, the frequency that your body's operating at, you are attracting life circumstances to you. And it's like when you come into that conscious creator mindset, you can then start to change things that are happening in your world. And what you can do is, rather than getting caught up in the drama, I like to, which I call like 3D thinking, I like to take a helicopter view and imagine yourself rising up as an observer of the situation and looking down on what is playing out, what drama is playing out, and how you can do things in a different way. And I like to use Dr. David Hawkins' model of consciousness. He has like a map of consciousness, and it starts off at 20. It's a scale that goes from 20 to 1,000 plus, and it's a vibrational scale. And he looks at emotions like shame, which is right at the very, very bottom of the emotional scale, and at number 20. And then you've got guilt, which is number 30, apathy, which is 50, grief, which is 75. Fear, which is 100. And as you come up this scale, like anger is 150. But when you come to 200, that's when you get courage. And that's when you get hope. And that's when you realize that you can change what is happening in your world. And as you come up to this, like you've got neutrality at 250. And as you're coming up the scale, you've got acceptance, reason, love, peace, joy, enlightenment. And so if you can do things that are raising your vibration, moving up this vibrational scale, looking at what you can bring into your life to give you that peace, what can you do on a daily basis to bring you that joy? How can you think in a different way so that your focus isn't on all the bad things that's happening to you, it's on the good things and what you've got to be grateful for, because gratitude is way up there on that list. And so you can use your emotions as a barometer.
Well, I've got a solution for everybody, which is that we just get Debra on drive time every morning for 5 minutes, and they can just say, look, Debra, can you help me? I'm at level am I at? And then you can say, well, it looks like this one, so you need to start moving to this scale. That could be the solution, couldn't it, Debra?
No, because people have got that within themselves. You know, I'm all about empowering people, not creating dependency.
I thought it'd be quite a fun thing to say anyway. So I think let's. I think we've covered a couple of quite profound aspects, which is sort of a lot of drama in people's lives. It touches upon a lot of quite deep things where people have resentment or pain. So thank you for sharing all of that. I mean, it takes an incredible amount of courage to actually be open about these sort of things, and they're not easy topics. Obviously, this is the fundamentals of life. A lot of people have to go through these things, and hopefully not everybody has to go through so many tough times, but at some stage people have to come to face-to-face with personal relationship issues or issues with their children. It may be around death or illness. It could be, financial loss. It could be anything. There could be anything that's come around the corner that you're not expecting. So having the psychology of understanding these things at a deeper level, I think it's really good to know for a lot of people. That really good tools to have in their armory. So let's keep it a bit more lighter now, I think, because what are the sort of main fundamentals you think to keep your vibration good? Because obviously a lot of people go through the exercise of raising their vibration. They may keep it up for a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months maybe, and then they go back to their old habits. So my question to you is, how do you consistently keep your vibration every minute, every day, your lifetime at a level? How do you program yourself to be at that level? That would be quite an interesting answer. So I'm all ears.
It's about making happiness a habit. Habits are formed over a period of time, so we have to do them consistently. It's like if you're wanting to build new muscle, you go to the gym, not just once or twice. You go to the gym, Lakhi, how long does it take to build muscle?
3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Quite quick.
Yeah.
Depends on how to train, but if I eat well and I train well, I can actually pick on muscle mass easily within 3 or 4 weeks, I think. Yeah.
And it's the same with new habits. If you do it consistently every day for 3-4 weeks, you've built a new habit. So
Okay.
It's about identifying what habits are you going to bring into your daily life that are a must, right? And that can be starting off with your morning routine, starting off with your intention for the day. Your intention is super powerful. What do you want to do that day? What's your intention, your overall intention? And happiness is an inside job.
So I think although these points you've just made sound so simple to say, yet they're so fundamental in terms of the implications it can have for millions of people. So anybody watching this, I think, please take note, because these conversations could be life-changing. I'm certainly taking Debra's comments very seriously, and I do actually bring up Debra on the choir and get some tips from her to keep my vibrations consistent. So she is probably, I would say, an invaluable resource for anybody out there trying to reach their best, I would say, being at their best, I'd say. So morning routine is a good idea. Setting intention is a good idea. And consistency, I suppose that's the third thing you said. What are the other sort of very basic things that people should be doing that you think, okay, well, if they just did that? I think we've had discussions in the past about having a clear gut and eating well and exercising. Any particular thoughts about those type of things?
Yeah, your food makes a massive difference to your vibration. If you're eating processed food, it's dead. Your body's not getting the nourishment from that. And so you've got to think, what is going to nourish my cells? And that is unprocessed food. It's food cut from scratch, organic food, raw food, fruit, vegetables. It makes a huge difference to your vibration. If you microwave food, what you're doing is you're like nuking it, and all the goodness that was in that food is then completely irradiated. And that causes also damage to your cells in your body. And so I don't use a microwave, or, very, very occasionally, if it's something that's really, really difficult to warm up in another way, I might just do it maybe once or twice a year, if that. because I prefer like not to use it because I know the damage that it's doing. Things like clean water is vital for your cells. Flush the toxins out of your system, detoxify the body, using supplements that are going to pull these toxins out at a cellular level. It's all helping to improve your body and so that it can hold more light, which can then raise your vibration. And look at things about, like, even your body care products, your shampoos, your conditioners, perfumes, you know, they're full of chemicals. So don't use it in the first place, and then you've not got as much to detox. So it's about looking to the, you know, to the root cause of what's happening, and rather than trying to do like a fix all the time, look at how you can put some preventive stuff in place as well.
Okay, I mean, what's interesting is I was just talking to a good friend of mine just yesterday, actually, and they've started a detox diet. And this is quite amazing. I think this friend of mine's had some arthritis in their body, around their elbows and their ankles. It's quite a high-profile person, so I can't go into too much detail. But they were saying that once they started this detox diet, because they cut out soya, they cut out gluten, they cut out dairy, and they started taking certain minerals and vitamins and certain types of juices they're meant to be drinking, a certain amount of water. And basically the arthritis is gone, and it's only been about 10 days.
Yeah.
So that in itself is actually miraculous, I would say, because this person can hardly, you know, walk for a mile or two without actually feeling pain. So that's all of a sudden within a couple of days is gone. So so I suppose not does it only have physical benefits. The food itself will probably allow you to have a clearer thinking and a higher vibration, I would say. Is that right?
Absolutely, yeah. And you've got foods that heal and foods that harm. And when you've got pain, you've got inflammation. And if you alkalize the body, so you can just go to Google and look at acidic food and neutral food and alkaline food, and eat off the alkaline food list, eliminate this stuff off the thing, and your pain will dramatically increase very, very quickly. I've done it myself. You know, I used to have chronic candida. I was like 3 stone overweight. I was tired. I had lots of fatigue, brain fog. I had pain. You know, I was like barely functioning. My mood was really, really low. And then I started to treat it through my diet. I eliminated sugar. I eliminated gluten and dairy, which are acidic in the body. Very, very quickly, my energy levels returned, my pain went. It can happen very, very quickly. And it's about giving the body the nutrients that it needs in order to do the cellular repair. And this is why we need to take high quality supplements, Lakhi, because we're not getting what we need just through food alone.
Okay, I mean, I think from what I remember, because I found out that the main reason there's a lot of inflammation was actually because of sugar. Apparently, sugar actually creates a lot of toxins in your body, which creates inflammation, which I wasn't even aware of. Yeah. So, you know, I think I'm quite blessed to actually be on, you know, these type of interviews with somebody like yourself, with so much knowledge and experience in the sector. So, and also putting a couple of bits together. So I've actually, as of about 5 months ago, you know, given up sugar to very low levels. I think on the odd occasion I might have a binge. Like I think I had 3 chocolates in a row about a week ago, dark chocolate for 3 days. But I think key thing sometimes is good to sort of, how do you say, let yourself have the satisfaction, but realize really in your head what it's all about and actually do it. So that was my way of actually letting off a bit of steam now about the guilt I felt about the chocolate. So That's the spots just over here because of the chocolate. You see it? So when I look at it in the mirror, it's a constant reminder.
I was recently gifted some chocolate from a friend, and it's called Pure Heavenly, and it's sugar-free, it's gluten-free, and it's absolutely delicious. It's healthy chocolate. And I also make my own healthy chocolate. And raw cacao is really good for you. It helps to balance the hormones. It releases oxytocin. So you don't have to deprive yourself. You can just look at healthy alternatives. But if you do choose to have something, the worst thing you can do is eat it with guilt, Lakhi, because what you're doing is lowering your vibration. And what you can actually do is change the energy of your food by blessing it. It can change the energy of it. You know, I've got a friend who's a naturopath GP, and she likes diet sodas, which are really acidic. But because she's like proficient in her art, and because she knows the power of intention, she uses pH strips to demonstrate live that beforehand her body is like, she'll have a drink of the diet soda and show that it's acidic. She'll put that into the diet soda, and the pH strip shows you the acidity level. But then she'll take a drink of that, put it in her mouth, and when she's drinking it, she's thinking of broccoli, 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 and that neutralizes the pH value. So, you know, we forget how powerful our mind is and how we can change things through intention.
Well, that's pretty powerful that you can actually do that. So I'm going to move on to a couple of other topics. So you've got physical health, got the gut, you've got, about choosing the choice in terms of how information comes to you and actually how you decide to interpret it. It's about choices. That's probably quite a fundamental one in terms of vibration. What are the other sort of key things that you think are good practices for anybody to actually follow? What are the basics you think that they should be doing? What have we missed so far on the list?
So we've talked about intention. We've talked about the power of your thoughts. We've talked about the power of focus and what you're focusing on to create. We've talked about making things a habit. We've talked about, like, I've just touched on happiness and about doing things on a daily basis that bring you joy, which keep your vibration high. Other things that you can do are things like exercising. Exercising helps to release the happy hormones. It makes you, when just moving the body helps you to change your stuck energy. You're very good at moving your body, Lakhi. I've seen your moves. I can't do that. I'll have to practice. It's like those nodding dogs on the back of a car, isn't it, that you see?
That's the camera.
You're in the vortex.
That's right. I think you've got me excited there about moving my body, actually, because I realised how stiff my neck is.
Other things that I use is things like essential oils. When you smell an essential oil, it goes to the limbic part of the brain, which controls the body and tells it what to do. And essential oils are the highest vibrational substances of anything on the planet. So we can use essential oils for this. I use my frequency device because this instantly raises my vibration. And it's worth it.
I want to stop you there for a second. I think tell us a little bit more about the frequency device, because not many people probably realize what that is or what it means. So I'm actually a user of the frequency device myself, and I've certainly found some massive benefit with it in terms of raising my vibration. But what I've done, just as a case study, is that I've actually changed my diet, cut down sugar, started exercising, meditating. And this is obviously, having spoken to Debra in at least about 6 or 7 shows now, I've started literally, I'm quite literate. I'll actually take the information and use it. You've probably been to notice that I don't really miss anything. So, and certainly I'm actually finding the benefit. I'm finding that nothing really, I used to get overly anxious about things. or start worrying about things, which is not really healthy, nor is it sort of happy behavior. So tell us a little bit more about the device, the Healy, how it works. But from my experience, I've found the device to be outstanding in terms of the type of things I've been able to do at a level of raising my vibration anyway. But I'll let you give the intro.
Yeah, so it's a frequency device. It's like a little portable wearable device. It's got like a clip on the back, or you can put it on a lanyard. It's operated by 2 apps. You can, it's got 120 programs in it for all sorts of purposes. So yesterday, for example, my dad had a really bad migraine headache. And I always ask him on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is it? And it was an 8 yesterday. So, and he's got a high pain threshold. So I knew it was bad. And so I just ran the migraine program, which was for 20 minutes. And then after that, I said, right, Dad, what's your pain level now? And it'd come down to a 2 within 20 minutes. And he'd had it since waking up in the morning. So it makes a significant, change to things like pain. It is a class 2 medical device for the relief of pain. But it does so much more than this. It's a health and wellness device. A lot of people are using it for biohacking the body to get maximum results from it, because we've got programs for fitness, for learning, for weight, for mental clarity. If I'm doing like webinars, for example, because I've been training with 2 naturopath GPs in America, and sometimes the training is like on their time, so it's going to the way early hours of the morning, our time, maybe it's 4 o'clock in the morning. And I just run my learning and concentration programs, and I don't feel tired at all. There's 2 ways of using it. We have cables, so you can just put the wristbands on. And what this does, it sends little electrical impulses to the cells. And this is increasing the ATP production in the body by up to 500%. Now, if you don't know what ATP is, it's the energy, it's the battery of the cells. And so if you imagine that every cell is lighting up in your body and being given energy, and so you can do a lot more. And this is why I don't feel tired. I used to feel tired in the morning, but now it's like I'm great in the morning. Another benefit of that is that it's increasing protein synthesis in the body by up to 70% and amino acid transport by up to 40%. And these are the building blocks of life. It's the DNA. It's working at a cellular level. So, and one of the benefits of that, what it's actually doing is, if you look at, as we get older, our cells start to age. And so it's bringing the cells back to young, healthy cells. So it's rejuvenating. So that's the microcurrent technology. The other technology is called Radionics. And this is like working in the quantum field in the higher dimensions. And this is how I'm able to do sessions on Zoom to people anywhere in the world by just creating a client record within the app, recording the vibration of the client while they're on Zoom with me. I just hold the Healy. I've got my device. We record the vibration of the client because they're tuning in as well, and they're located in the information field through their unique identifiers, which is the name, the date of birth, the place of birth, and their address. Because nobody else in the world has got those same identifiers. So, and because there is no separation, it doesn't matter where you are globally, it will work. And people can feel the vibrations coming through because we can do analysis, we can do aura and chakra balancing, we can get a graph of what percentage the chakras are functioning at. We can put intentions in there to magnify your intentions into the universe. So there's many, many different applications. Oh, Lakhi's disappeared then. Oh, I thought they'd come to me creative, Lakhi.
Security checking me out in a second from the hotel. Okay, so believe it or not, I was actually paying attention. Being a bloke, we can't normally multitask easily, but I just about can now with my microtech. Okay, some interesting questions come to mind, and I think a lot of the viewers out there might actually be thinking, okay, what is this all about? Sounds something like Our Born Identity, the movie, or something, or The Matrix. So just to sort of set people's mind at ease in terms of understanding what this is, Deborah and I have actually helped a few people that have had somewhat semi-chronic type issues with the device. So without going into the detail of them, because we're not really allowed to talk about ailments and try to talk about like amazing things that have happened, because that wouldn't be doing the device or the company any justice. A friend of mine couldn't sleep properly. There's insomnia for about 5 years. So fact is that she hadn't slept for about 5 days in a row, and then she sort of sleeps for a whole day, and then for about another 10 days doesn't sleep. So we basically we tested it on her to help her, and it definitely made a difference in terms of her sleeping patterns anyway. So I know from that point of view, but also as a personal user, that it's had a great benefit. But we're not really here to sell it to anybody. But what we can do is, anybody interested in finding out more, please just put a message in, send the direct message to Lakhi Singh or to John Smith, who's on the group, and then we will set up a meeting or a call with Deborah for you, discuss really the income opportunity itself, and also the benefits of the device, because I think the vibrational aspect of this device itself is pretty amazing. And furthermore, what I'd like to say is that it is a bit like the Matrix, where they programmed Neo with about 500 programs in about 1 day, and then he could literally fly and break rules and beat people up. I wouldn't say it can probably do that sort of thing, but it's let's just say it allows you to vibrate at a level with lots of different programs. There's 120 different programs, and it's a very good diagnostic tool as well for understanding really at a physical level or a soul level certain things which may be obstacles in your life as well. So the first step in understanding really what you might need to improve is actually just having knowledge, actually. So that in itself is actually something major, I would say. Would you agree, Deborah?
Yeah, and what it's actually doing is it's changing, because we all have an information field, it's changing the information field and putting it into balance, into homeostasis, because we can get out of balance in life. And so it's helping physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it's working on a multidimensional level. So it's like looking at you as a whole. One of the things that when I was writing the book, Lakhi, I was wanting to get really clear on what it is that I'm creating. I got really clear that what I'm creating is a global movement to help raise the vibration of 10 million souls. And this device plays a significant part of this, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing it. And what we're looking for are people who want to help us take this out into the world, because we're right at the beginning with this. And, we're already in 45 different countries, expanding globally. And so we need the right people in place. So, if anybody has found it really challenging during these times they've had a drop in their income, they're looking for new opportunity, they just feel aligned with the purpose of making this shift in consciousness in the world. Those are the people that we're wanting to work with: conscious entrepreneurs, practitioners, healers, Reiki practitioners, energy workers. So yeah, I'd love to talk to them, because what I'm doing is actually developing some training to help them use this device in their practice, so that they can get a very quick return on their investment.
Okay, we're coming near to the end of the show. Unfortunately, we could actually continue the show for the whole day, because Deborah and I are on the device. So we are beyond the matrix, and we can literally We've got so much energy now that the show can go on forever and ever. It could be infinite. But obviously, everybody else is not moving at the same speed in terms of infinite energy. So we've only got 6 minutes, but we can't compress time into infinite time. So within that 6 minutes, I'm going to let Debra attempt to give you a summary of what's the game changers that can help you define your success. So I think even if you take one thing that's an action that you can take away with you today, and it makes a difference tomorrow, we'd like to hear from you and then see how you got on. So Debra, the stage is yours. You've got 5 minutes really to give us a summary, and then I'll round up for about 30 seconds near the end. Okay?
Yeah, so what I'd encourage people to do is actually buy the book. I didn't mention the title of it at the beginning, and it's called The Law of Brand Attraction 2. And you can buy it from www.thelawofbrandattraction.com. If you buy it from that website, you can just put your country in and it will take you directly through to the Amazon link for the Kindle version. The paperback will be out in May. But at the moment, before the paperback comes out, it's less than £1, less than $1. So it's a great time to actually buy it. But in that book, there's strategies and systems from 27 different thought leaders sharing how you can create a conscious business and create a ripple effect for other people. And it's a fantastic book. So I'd say buy that. The other thing I'd like to do is a little bit of audience participation. If you're watching this live, put #live in the comments. If you're watching it on a replay, put #replay so that I can come back to the comments later and look at what you've written. And, if you've got any questions, put them in there. And also what I'd love you to do is put #action and put one thing that you're taking away from this talk today about, what we've been sharing. Lakhi, what are you going to take away from today?
Well, I think what was interesting, the beginning part of the show was about choices and how you choose to make a decision as to really how you interpret what people say to you. And those moments can actually then affect the rest of your life. So I think building up the tool set to read into what people are saying and giving yourself enough time to really be measured in your approach. So I think, having been clear about your choices, but I think meditation actually and choices are probably go hand in hand, and actually self-love or self-respect. So I think those are the sort of things that resonate with me anyway.
Yeah, and I love meditation. It's like when I meditate, it just takes me to the void, to the nothingness. And, you can set your intentions as well before you do a meditation, because like what you can do is you can access the Akashic records, which store information, which store everything. And so like you can set intentions for things to come to you. And I like to work through intention. So rather than going out there and pushing, I'd rather be very, very still and attract, using, principles that we've talked about today and on other shows as well, Lakhi.
I think that's a really good way of really summing up the show, which is just really being content within yourselves, being quiet. You'll find that the right people will turn up, the right opportunities will turn up, the right money will turn up, the right relationships will turn up, the right friendships will turn up. Maybe if you ordered correctly in the menu, then the right food will turn up on time as well.
Yeah, and operating from a place of love and service rather than fear.
Okay, well, there's a lot of information for everybody to take in, so there's lots of positive messages. So I think we've got a very comprehensive understanding of really raising vibrations, and I think speaking to Deborah about the Healy device for the income opportunity, as well as actually raising your vibration. And if you're finding it difficult to manifest what you want because you wanted that £100,000 director's job working for this XYZ company, and you can't achieve it, but you want assistance and you want help, then feel welcome to send a message to myself and to Deborah, and we'll help you to manifest it, because it's all about service, and I'm not even joking. So whatever you want, whether it's that job or that relationship or better health, better finances, Lakhi Singh, the property and business fixer, Deborah, the health helper, I would say, supporter.
The frequency alchemist. You can find out my Facebook page, The Frequency Alchemist.
Frequency alchemist is her tagline. You should actually say Deborah, the frequency alchemist, actually, but it's a bit long to put it on there sometimes. So, it's been a fantastic show. I really enjoyed it. It's really made my Friday, set me up for the weekend now. So I'll certainly be looking to raise my vibrations to the next level, onward and beyond. How does it go with the Toy Story, that Buzz Lightyear? What does he say? Have you seen Toy Story?
I have, but I can't remember what he says.
He sort of says upwards and beyond or something like that. So like that came to mind actually, but I can't even remember the line. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Thank you, Lakhi, for inviting me on your show. I haven't been on for a while because I've been on Zoom every morning from 7 till 8:30, 9 o'clock, doing training with Sammy. If anybody's interested in checking out that community, we've actually got a 5-day festival starting today, actually, entry into the group, and it's called Ripple Fest, and it is just extraordinary. It's £8, which all goes to charity, but if anybody wants the link for that, I'll put it in the chat as well, because you've got world-class speakers. It's amazing.
You definitely put it into the chat, and just send it to me on WhatsApp, and I'll put all the little publicity and on all my groups for you as well. By the way, we've had quite a few shout outs as well. We haven't had a chance to mention them because we've got so much into the flow today. So Julius Just, he says, great to hear Deborah's philosophy, and he's written down #live, #action, good vibrations, and he's written good show.
Oh,
so,
thank you.
And then he's also written to infinity and beyond, and so has Sonia Lambert. So I'm not too sure whether they mean.
That'll be Buzz Lightyear.
No, I was just going to make a joke. I was going to say I'm not too sure whether they mean that to infinity and beyond for themselves, or whether they're trying to correct me. So we'll leave that open, because I think maybe you guys are saying to infinity and beyond for yourselves. We'll leave that to the viewers to only guess what they're trying to say.
Well, I choose that.
Good. So it's almost like it's quite funny that I actually got that wrong, and now people are actually going to make that their motto. Fantastic. So Julius, Sonia, infinity and beyond to both of you. And before we go, I'm going to show you a bit of a tour, because a tour of the hotel. Here we go. My new living quarters. You can also see the A40 motorway and Edgware Station, and the high-rise buildings of London. A lot of people coming into town now. So there we go. From London, Lakhi Singh, the property fixer. Deborah, thank you again for a wonderful show, and we should catch up soon. And Sonia Lambert has said definitely, and she's sending us love hearts. And Julius just is saying for all. Okay, fantastic, guys. Bye.
Bye.